I'm just going to go live right this second.
Michael, can you be quiet? We're just going into live. Thanks.
Okay. Hello, 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 hello. I think we're going live. I'm not sure if that is correct.
These are those rhombohedron.
Oh, blimey. What's all that malarkey about? Right. Hello, everyone. Oh, I better adjust my sort of thingy. Just waiting to see if there's anybody out there. Just to sort of go into the... let's just have a look at the running order of the live today. This is all about the Astroflower. So, hi Teresa, how you doing? V Brock, how you doing? Excellent. Lovely to see you all. Rita Gates, loads of people coming in now. This is good. We're going to have some fun, hopefully. That's what life's about, isn't it? Apparently. So, hello one and all. Right, we're going to be going into the Astroflower. I don't know if there's who's watching. There's sort of quite a few people picking up now. I'll put my teeth back in. Yes, so welcome to the Astroflower. Hope you do enjoy this live. We're going to be going into the Astroflower, a little bit of the history of the Astroflower, where it comes from, thing about each sign, the elements in each sign, how they all sort of goes together, and so forth. Let me just check that running order again. So the history of the Astroflower, the sign makeups of the Astroflower, each petal, what each petal sort of means. Then we're going to go through the elements a little bit, and then we'll go into general questions at the end. I've got an itchy nose for some reason, so let's just get on with what we're looking at the moment. Who have we got? We got a lot of people in now. I don't want to miss people off at the beginning, as it were. So, yes, Marguerite, is that I can see in there. Hello. Hello, everybody. Right, let me just cut to the Astroflower. Look at that. That's almost professional, isn't it? Welcome to... So this is the Astroflower in its totality. Let me give you a bit of a history about the Astroflower. I've been doing like energy work for a long time, all my life it seems like, and I've been enjoying every step of the way. I've learned loads for the Astroflower, learned loads from life, learned loads from the energy and so forth. And what happened was I started doing healing when I was about sort of 16 and stuff like that in London. Eventually ended up in the south of France because I followed the path that was given to me, as it were. So I was living in a van and ended up in the Pyrenees Mountains and settled home there in the Pyrenees Mountains nearly 30 years ago now, and then started up a healing school. Well, not the healing school. I started up doing healing basically, and it was an amazing part of life. Amazing part of life. Let me just go back to that because I feel a bit squashed in the other way. It's an amazing part of life. I was living in this small little village. There mustn't have been more than sort of 300 inhabitants in that little village, and I'd gone through a near-death experience when I was 22 and started perfecting seeing energy, basically seeing a lot of auras and stuff like that around everything. And so I started teaching myself about energy and how it worked, which has been a fantastic story or fantastic path to go down. Been absolutely brilliant. Karma Control. Hello, is that you? Karma Control, how are you doing? And yes, so I was learning a lot, and I was desperate to get into this healing thing, and I was sort of saying to energy, can I start doing healing now? Can I start doing healing now? It says, no, you got to learn. So I learned for about sort of like 10 years, and then eventually when I was like approximately 33, I basically started My telephone's gone all weird. Don't know why it's gone all weird. Why does iPhones do this? Excuse me, because otherwise I can't see any of the comments and stuff like that. Yes, so started when I was about 33. And what happened was there was a little village run by these two sisters, two old sisters, lovely couple of they were. And so I just went to them and I sort of said, look, this is what I do. So I looked after one of the sisters because she was having difficulties in one thing. And the word started getting out, basically. And I only gave them one card, one business card. And because I wasn't really good at that sort of thing, promoting myself. And they said, you've got to go and see this man. He lives down the corner there in the village, just down the road in the corner. And I said to the person, because energy has said to me now, once you start learning about energy, you can't go to people. You can't really offer it up to people. They have to come to you naturally. And I said to them, I said, I can't really go and just without the person asking me to go and see them, I can't really go and see them. And they said, well, he's really poorly, you should go and see him anyway, and everything like that. So I spent a week at my place, and he only lived around about sort of, around about sort of 200 meters. So it's equivalent of sort of like 150 yards away from me. And I was meditating on this person, and after about sort of 4 or 5 days, I realized that he understood, or this person understood energy, sort of thing. So I kind of went, right, okay, in that case, I'm going to go and see him because I've got to. So I went round there and I knocked on the door, and this lady opened the door, and she said to me straight away, she said, he's not receiving anybody anymore at the moment, and he only receives people he knows. And I said, oh, that's all right, he knows me. And we'd never met. And she opened the door, and so I could see into the house. And in the house, laying in the room, was this fairly old man. And she looked at him and she said to him, obviously in French, do you know this man? Do you know this young man in front of you? I was a young man at that stage. Said, do you know this young man? And I said, and he said, yes, I do know him. And I'd never met him. And I went in there and he held out his hand. He held out his hand like that. And I said to him, I'm not here for me. I'm here for you. And I said, and I shook his hand and I realised what was going on. And I just said to him, I'm here to thank you for everything you've done. And he passed away that night. And I'd realised that he was the village healer. And in France, every village tends to have someone like a village healer to take away sort of verrucas and stuff like that. And it was a magical passing of the baton, passing of the trade, as it were, passing of the activity from one person to another. And literally within a month, I was just inundated, and there was, I had a lot of people waiting in the garden. It was just the most amazing, beautiful thing when you follow energy and you start, going down that road and trusting in it. It brings you these most amazing experiences. So I got into that, and that's where I come from. And then I just started seeing more and more people, a lot more people, a lot more people. And what I worked out after a period of time is that actually it's better if I can create something that I can help people prevent themselves. So, prevention is better than cure. Okay, so about sort of between 15 and 20 years ago, I started working on this system. I didn't know what the name of it was, and I approached it in various different ways. And just the funny thing, and the reason I noticed it, because it was about 15 years ago when I noticed when, in one day I'd have like a sort of like 10, 11, 12 clients, and, 8, 9, 10 of them would be of one particular sign. And that's when I realised that there were certain rhythms going on behind all of this. And I sort of realised that certain signs have certain situations at certain times of the year, and that opened that whole sort of floodgate to discovering about the what is now is called the Astroflower. And basically, I over a period of several years of observing, of understanding of what was going on in life through the healing process, or of offering healing to people, there was something really connecting between the signs, rhythms, and so forth, and that sort of developed this whole sort of the Astroflower sort of thing. So the Astroflower goes so much further than tarot, as it were. It's something that that it is new. You won't find it anywhere else, because people have been asking, where can I find more information about this? And I'm trying to get as much information as I can out without confusing people, because it's not like an astrological system that you would say like astrology. We can use the planets in the Astroflower, but it does get very complicated, like astrology, and it takes time to understand in the process. And I just wanted something simple for my clients that I could give to my clients, the people that I was seeing, and sort of saying, look, if you recognize this and you recognize these rhythms within you and these sort of elements that are playing through you, here's a little bit more, you're going to be a little bit more emotional during this period of the year, and those sort of things. It's, if you understand what's going on in your life, then you can sort of not orchestrate, but sort of, guide it in a way that you don't end up with having problems that you need to go and see a healer for. So that was the overall goal of the Astroflower, more than anything else. It has developed, and it doesn't stop developing. It doesn't stop giving. We can apply the Astroflower to physical health. We can apply the Astroflower to business setups, running a whole business. We can put on an Astroflower. There's multitudes of ways of actually sort of putting the Astroflower into life, and so that's where the origins of it comes from. It comes from that whole sort of connection from energy and stuff like that. Because someone asked me the other day, sort of said, where does it come from? And I sort of went, well, it came from there, or it came from there, from the heart. But whatever it really did, it was like it was downloaded in a way from energy, and energy just sort of just fed me eureka moments of understanding through living life. This is why living life is so important. It's the best way to learn, to live life, and it should be fun. I keep saying it, and I keep trying to have fun. And I in every sort of circumstance, even when it's difficult. But yeah, it's a never-ending, growing thing that sort of that we're discovering every day more and more about how the Astroflower can help us in multitudes of different ways. I do the sort of tarot that's connected with it. Just give you a history of the tarot for me. I've started doing tarot when I was 16. I got my first deck I was given by my parents, or my mum, when I was 16. And then sort of stopped when I was 22 because people, rather than living life, they were just sort of taking exactly what I said and then sort of not paying attention anymore and sort of not really living life. So that's when I moved more into the energy stuff, and it's great to be back with tarot. I love it, really, and it's great fun. So we've applied tarot to the Astroflower as well, but the Astroflower goes so much further than that. It's an integrated system that we integrate with multitudes of different rhythms, to do with the human rhythms, to do with solar rhythms, to do with solar activity, with universal vibrations, the different elements that come through the universal vibration. So it can go a lot deeper than that. So let's just have a quick sort of go through the Astroflower, shall we? Let's just bring this back up here. This is the Astroflower in its entirety. So each ring that you can see here is the ring of a sign. At the top here we've got Libra. Libra. Now, the thing, each ring is then sort of overlapped by the rings of its neighbours, which creates this petal system that goes through the Astroflower. There's 10 petals in total on each sign, and the sign elements and etc. and their qualities are on the outside, and that's where your connection is with everything that is around you. The processing of everything is within the petals that is inside that circle, within that one circle there. Let me just give you here, look, just bring that one up there. So that's Aries. There you go, that's Aries. You've got the ring of fire. I nearly broke into Johnny Cash then. You know, I would do on a normal day, but I can't remember the words there. All I can remember is ring of fire. So there's the ring of fire, and then you've got all the petals that are inside that sort of that ring of fire of Aries, which makes up different elements. We'll go through that in a minute, and etc. With the different signs. There is one thing I've noticed, and this is where the healing part comes into it. Once I started noticing, so this is Aries at the moment that we've got here, but let's just take another one. Let's take the next sign in line, which is Taurus here. Taurus here, you can see it's a fixed sign. So fixed signs, fixed energies are square energies. Cardinal signs are triangular, and mutable is circular. And that's how we represent it in the Astroflower. So here we have the fixed sign of Taurus, and I've noticed that not all signs give one element or are composed of just one element. So let me just take Capricorn, for example, because obviously I'm a Capricorn. We'll get on to Scorpio and things like that in a minute. But in the meantime, let's just have a look at Capricorn. So Capricorn is cardinal sign. So you've got the top element, which is the earth element. And Capricorn is meant to be an earth sign. But actually, when you look at the sign for Capricorn, it's half goat, half fish. So, and this is so true for Capricorn. When you can see, I've actually split Capricorn. So there's 1/3 of earth at the top, 2/3 of earth at the top, and 1/3 of water at the bottom. And it's what I would call a hybrid sign. And there is in total 8 hybrid signs. Out of all the signs, and there is certain particular things about hybrid signs as well, which we're going to go into in a second. So Capricorn, actually, when you look through the flower, because here in this section here, let me just here, well, I don't know if you can see here you've got this water here, you've got water here, you've got water here, you've got water here. There is a lot of water in Capricorn. There's not actually any earth inside Capricorn. Capricorn is all about earth on the exterior, how they actually produce things, how they convert their emotions into reality, into concrete reality, because they're very concrete. The thing is, there is more water in Capricorn than there is actually earth. And they have emotions that are really, they run very, very deep indeed. They don't always come to the surface because if you can see, like here, here and here, that is the highest elements of water that comes to the surface. And just underneath on this petal 10 here, in this section here, you've got fire and air, but no water. So their waters in Capricorns tend to be very deep. They don't tend to show their emotions, but they are going through a major emotional stuff. But, so this is what, so you've got 8 hybrids, right? 8 hybrids and 4 pure signs, okay? So Capricorn, I would say, is a false hybrid because it presents as earth, but it's not. It's actually, the majority within it is actually water. Let's just take its opposite here, Cancer. So Cancer is a similar sort of situation. You've got all this air, all this water on the outside, as you can see, but there's no water in the middle. But then look at this same situation. You've got the Earth, and Earth on there, and it's actually got more Earth as well than it does actually water. So they like constructing, building, renovating, that sort of thing. But it comes from within them. But they obviously want to show that construction emotionally within their life. So that's another false hybrid. The other two are Sagittarius and Gemini. So Gemini actually has a lot more fire in it. Let me just show you on here. Gemini. Just before Gemini has air at its surface, which you can see in all of this sort of section there, that mutable air, but it does have fire at its base, but it has a lot of fire running through it at the same time, as you can well see here, highlighting. And it's the same thing with Sagittarius. So you get these false hybrids where they're actually next to each other across the actual Astroflower, across the whole Astroflower. So here you have Cancer just here. Over here you have Capricorn, and with Sagittarius next to it, and here you have sort of Cancer with Gemini just next to it. Now that's the false hybrid signs. And then you have the hybrid signs, which is, say, for example, which we saw earlier on, which is Taurus. Now they have more earth in it than they do actual sort of fire in their thingy, because they have this earth here that's running through their base, although they do have a lot of fire coming through them. And there's, I don't know if you know anything about sort of balls. I don't mean balls as in bouncy balls. I'm talking balls as in cows and bulls, heifers and bulls. A bull, when it is in a field, I used to have a healing centre, and outside the healing centre in my garden, actually outside my kitchen window, I could feed the cows through the kitchen window, and it was a really lovely place. And there was often a bull in with the cows. But as long as the bull is fine, is within the cows, and you're not bothering the cows, the bull will leave you alone. They're really gentle and docile creatures. They're lovely things. But obviously, if you start teasing the bull, or if you start, sort of playing with the heifers, the bull will then start allowing that fire to come up through the middle of them, and it will come surging to the surface. And that's what we get with as well with Tauruses. So Taurus is a hybrid. Taurus is a hybrid. What else is a hybrid? Leo is a hybrid. Now, this is the other thing. We'll look at Leo here. Leo is quarter to... Hang on a second. Let me have a look on that. So just show you on this. Here we have Taurus here, in this section here. That's Taurus there. And then a quarter way around... no, that's Leo. And a quarter around, so 90 degrees around it, you have Taurus there. Now, the thing with Leo is, let me just bring Leo up for you. Leo has got fire at the surface and earth at the bottom. And it does have a lot of earth running through it, but it does have also fire running through it. And this is what brings it forward. So it's almost like the opposite of Taurus, but it's not quite the same. They're both fixed signs. When you put a Taurus and a Leo together, when they work together, you've got a complete fixed earth and a complete fixed fire together. But they've got to work in tandem. So they can work really well together as signs, and that's within the workspace. It's not the same thing within sort of emotional sort of space, but it's within the workspace. And let's just take another sign here where we have the other hybrids, such as Aquarius. Here's Aquarius here. We got the air at the surface and water at the bottom. Now, this is the same sort of thing. When you look at Aquarius, in French, it's called verso. And verso means versing or pouring water. A little bit like John the Baptist, if you like. It's my John the Baptist sign. I could go into that about the signs and the signs and historical events is very, very interesting. But let's get back to the Astroflower. Sorry, I'm digressing. It has a lot of water going through it as well, sort of Aquarius, and that has that water at the surface and air at the bottom. They are hybrids, but they're pure hybrids. And the opposite or the right angle to that is Scorpio. And if we just look at Scorpio, Scorpio is its opposite. It has the fixed water at the surface, which you can see here, and then it has the fixed air at the bottom with air running through it. And it gets that air coming through from Libra example that runs right through the middle of it. Now this changes how we process things. This petal system in the middle, which we will go through in a minute. But this is just a brief explanation of how it works with the signs. So you have these hybrid signs, and these hybrid sort of opposites that are 90-degree angles are always fixed signs. False hybrid signs are cardinal and mutable. And then we get the pure signs. Now these are pure elements, and there is 4 of them. Okay, so there's 4 hybrid false signs, 4 pure hybrids, and then there's, I say pure hybrids, 4 fixed hybrids, and then you get 4 pure signs. So for example, you get to Aries, where you've got this fire that goes all the way around them. Oh, hang on a second, that's that petal thing. The fire that goes all the way around them. And then you'll have next to Aries, you'll have Pisces, a mutable sign, but a pure water sign, and it is like the water definitive in a way. The other pure signs are Libra here, where you've got pure air that's running through them. And one thing you'll notice here that it's not always the same on all signs. Libra, for example, only has 2 bits of fire in their sign, and there is very particular reasons for that, and it plays out within their characters. You get the same thing with Virgo here. So Virgo is a pure earth sign. Virgo is in French or Latin is the Vierge, which means the Virgin. And when you see the sign for the Virgo is carrying 5 sheaths of wheat, usually as a sign, and it is all about the earth, basically. Very sort of almost like an empress card in a way, that has control over the sort of earth, the full earth sort of sign. And they have a lot of earth because they have a lot of earth running through them as well, going through them. But they only have 2 waters. And this is the same thing. It's like, sometimes you get like hybrid dogs. I'm not saying Virgos are dogs or any of the pure breeds, pure signs are dogs. All I'm saying is that you get when you get pure breed dogs, they're absolutely amazing, but they do have stark situations or difficulties in life. They're very sort of because they're very hybrids, not hybrids, they're very pure. They sometimes can have health issues and stuff like that, and we can see that in the Astroflower as well. So that each sign has its own element makeup within them, and then it has all the different sort of petals that are going through them. So let's just go through, let's have a look at the petals that goes through. There is 10 in total. Let's just start at number 6. We're going to start at number 6 because that's the essence of the sign, the inner essence of the sign. Number 6 is like your it's your pure soul essence, basically. It's the center of you that doesn't really get touched by the outside world. It's that sort of place within you that is ultimately you. So let's just say if we took Taurus has got earth, water, air and fire. So it's got all the elements that are processed, that are present within the sign, and they tend to be very directional on their emotional front and almost confrontational with themselves, because you've got that fire and earth that are running in together with them. So that is petal number 6. Petals, let's go into the rest of the petals that are down below, and this is where we come into the tower a little bit. We have split this on this side here, so 8, 1, 2, 5 and 8 is all to do with relationships, your spiritual path, your emotions, all those sort of non-tangible aspects of life that you know exists and that we all interact with, but you can't actually touch it physically, which is that's what the right hand side of the flower is all about. And then on the left hand side you have 3, 4, 7 and 9, which is all to do with our connection with the material world. And this could be in a physical sense, this could also be to do with your health, but it could also be to do with how you buy, what houses you acquire, or what sort of jobs you do, or what sort of businesses you sort of run, and so forth. So that ties into there on that side. But let's just go through each individual petal. So I'm going to start with 2 and 3. So on this section here, 2 and 3. 2 and 3 is like your karmic paths. This is our karmic paths here. So number 2 is our karmic path on our relationship side, and how that sort of it's the driving force of why we're here, the essence of why we're here, the elements of why we're here. And let's just take a sign in particular. Let's take Scorpio. So Scorpio, you have cardinal signs within your relationships sides. I think relationships play an important part in your life, and they give you a lot of direction. But it's not necessarily that's what comes to the surface. That's what you're driving at, as it were. On petal 2, which is on this side, petal 3, sorry, which is on this side, that's all the the karmic path for your material side of life. And this is a bit more sort of mutable, sort of give and take, as it were, within you. And this is what these petals are. These are these 2 fundamental petals. Now they can obviously play out in multitudes of different ways. Number 1 is, and like number 4 on this side here, is how the universe is trying to influence that karmic path. How the outside world, the outside universe, not the outside world, the outside universe more than anything else, is trying to influence these karmic paths to bring us into the bigger plan, as it were, of what we should be doing and where we should be going in life. And then obviously we have each sign that has our own elements connected with that. Let's take Gemini, for example. Once we get into petals 1 and 4, you're always going to be in the qualities that is the sign. So for Gemini, obviously it's mutable. For sort of Aries, it's going to be cardinal, and it's those interactions that you will know your connection with the universe, because it plays the same tune as you, as it were, in regards to sort of qualities in there. So that's how that influences your karmic paths in a way. And then we have petals 5 and 7 on both sides. Now this is how the guides we have a particular guide system. So if you imagine you are the person driving the vehicle, okay, let me just do a bit of let me get back to that. Yeah, so you are the spirit that is driving the vehicle, okay, and then we have 2 guides that are very far away, that is between here. They're like the halfway house between the earthly plane and the celestial plane. And they're concerned about creation. They're concerned about your body. And they're also concerned about the super subconscious. They're concerned about the longer term plan connected to the karmic path. They influence the karmic path, but in the longer term plan rather than in the short term, such as weekly or monthly or even a yearly. They're really much more concerned about the longer term plan. They bring in a lot of the coincidences of the connection with the universe into our lives, and it's usually those guides there that are orchestrating all of this. Then if we go into the next one, which is Petal 8 and Petal 9, these are like the guides. I don't know if you've ever seen like the old Tom and Jerry, because I grew up on that when I was a kid. Tom and Jerry sort of cartoons, or that sort of thing. I did watch other cartoons, obviously, like any kid. Although I didn't have a TV till I was about 8, so I was non-infected by TV until I was about 8. And when I discovered TV when I was 8, it was just like kind of going, wow, this is amazing. Look at this. But in the old Tom and Jerry, you should remember, you used to have those guides that are sort of, how was that? Let me just do a bit of that. So you have guides sitting on your shoulders, right? In the Tom and Jerry, you'd have like the devil on one side or the devil on one side and the angel version on the other. And we have this within our guide system as well. And these are the guides that are there, that are influencing. They're talking to you, the spirit, the driver in the vehicle, and together. And then there's one guide that sort of stays in the celestial realm as like an anchor, as it were. And then the 6 spirits together make up a soul. It's the difference between the spirit and the soul for me. So it's a very particular setup. We can go into that on another video, on another time, on another live, and you can ask lots of questions on that. So these guides here are actually influencing the conversation that is within us. So they're more concerned about the immediate, the here and now, these guides. And then we have Petal 10, which is how we interact with the world around us, how we accumulate all of this lovely flower into one bud. It's almost like the pollen, as it were. It's the stuff that makes beautiful honey as we go forward within life. So it's our interaction with the life that is around us. And let's just take another sign. Let's take Virgo, for example. So Virgo, like all earth signs, are driven by the passion and air, very stimulated, mentally stimulated, and very passionate about things. And just to sort of show you quickly, Capricorn is the same thing. We have that earth and we have that fire and air sort of scenario. So it's built out of that. It's a question of how we translate it through the earth sign element as it goes through. Okay, so these interlock with one another, and the moment we can see the process of the karmic path connected with the influence from the universe and how our guides sort of are directing us through this, then we can put in our essence into it, combined with the here and now, and end up with the final product. Final action, as it were. And this is, so we have to take in all of these elements as we go through into the final section, which is here. So the idea that comes in, or the karmic mission that's coming into our lives, is molded or sculpted as we go through us as individuals and how we interact with the world around us. Now, this will change according to the energies that are around us, and this has to do with solar activities. And as I mentioned earlier on about rhythms in life, Parry, I've just seen your name come up at the corner of the screen there. I accidentally deleted your comment about your birthday. It was an accident. I do apologise. All fingers and thumbs here. So do apologise. It was your birthday on the 5th. So happy birthday for the 5th, Parry. I didn't mean to do that. I was actually just trying to sort of say happy birthday to you. We're trying to say happy birthday to you. So, just lovely to see you here, by the way, Parry. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, rhythms of life. I was noticing the rhythms of life and how these, how a lot of signs would turn up on a one particular day more than other days. And this rhythm here brought me to another aspect, which is a really important aspect of the Astroflower. And that is the rhythms of life. And this is the yearly rhythm for each one. And how our rhythm of our energy increases over the year and then sort of reduces during our autumn period. And what sign do we have here? We have... which sign is this? It's Gemini. Okay, this is a Gemini. This is mutable. So Gemini, the beginning part is number 1 of the birthday season. The ending part is number 2 here. So this is your whole birthday season sort of coming through. Your birthday season is this period here in this box here that sort of comes up. And it goes up over this period here just after your birthday season. And then it goes up to your pure height of summer within the northern hemisphere and then drops down regardless of northern and southern hemisphere. Sorry. Hang on a second. Let me just bring it back to that. And this ties into the rhythm of the Earth, and you get different increases of energy. So as the Earth is spinning round and it's going round the solar system and we get closer and further away from the sun, the energy in the center of the Earth, which is a ball of plasma, but that's another subject for another day. The way solar systems are created is not what we taught at school. As far as I'm concerned, I've got a completely different system that I'd like to go into one day, which I will do. But at the moment, let's just stick with the basics. And basically, the vibration, if you imagine that's the northern hemisphere and that's the southern hemisphere. Let me just make sure. Yeah, you can see it. The northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. So it moves and oscillates like that between the north and south. So we can see this oscillation with the blue vibration, the blue line here, which is for the northern hemisphere of the Earth's energy, and the green line, which is for the southern hemisphere. Now, as you can see here, Gemini is pretty close to that sort of season because the Gemini goes up to the solstice. So it's very close to the vibration within the southern hemisphere. So all you Geminis in the southern hemisphere, you would really sort of notice that and feel that. Let me just get my phone out of the way so I can see correctly. That's Scorpio. Let's go into Capricorn, just because Capricorn obviously goes from the solstice in winter in the northern hemisphere. And as you can see here, it follows that blue line perfectly at the beginning of the season and then sort of goes slightly out of the rhythm when it comes later in the later season of Capricorn. And if we take someone like Scorpio and fixed signs in general are right squashed between the two. And this is one of the reasons why they're fixed. It's because of the Earth's energy. So these vibrations that come through will change over the year. And when we understand that, it's easier for us to push on certain aspects of our lives which are beneficial and certain aspects that we can pull off on at different times of the year. The other rhythm which comes out in the Astroflower is the solar activity. Now, this is the solar activity here, and you can see the height and lows. We're actually in this process. We're in this part here, so we've got a lot of solar activity that's still going on. I think we're coming to the end of the solar activity at the moment. This is a thing from the International Space Station or something like that, or the European sort of space agency, and they've predicted this solar cycle to be in 2025. The height. I think they're a bit too ambitious. I think we're coming to the end of it now, and I think we'll see the end of it during 2024. And this will depend on when you're born. If you're born in a high cycle, it is completely different to when you're born in a low cycle. And then also, if you're born in this transition zones of it going from high to low, and also going from low to high. it changes our character. It also defines, because a solar cycle is around about on average is 10.56 years, so it's between 10 and 11 years. And it defines an epoch, so the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the zeros, etc. And it will define it. And there's certainly a lot going on. If you look back in the 1960s, in the summer of love and the civil rights movement, that all happened in mainly sort of came to a head in the height of that solar cycle there. And then we had this long, prolonged transition afterwards. And that's all to do with the punk movement as we go down to the lower section in life. So these epochs are really important because they do come back in circles. I think you might have noticed this with songs. Some songs that have been back in the 1960s, they come back in the 1980s, and then they do a remix in the 2000s and what have you. So they get this similar sort of thing going on with the Astroflower. And when we know about this, it helps to understand when we are in either a growth cycle or a retraction cycle. And a retraction cycle or a decreasing cycle is not a bad thing at all. Growth and retraction is good. It's like breathing. Is breathing in better than breathing out? It's like you've got to do both. You can't have one without the other. And this is what comes along in the Astroflower as well. We get a lot of that as well. Okay, so I hope that's explained a lot about the Astroflower. The last thing I want to go into is the elements. I'm going to go into it very briefly because obviously I want to start taking questions. If you've got any questions concerning the Astroflower, the mechanics of the Astroflower, or anything that's sort of vaguely connected to the Astroflower, please start chucking them away, as it were. But elements, let me just talk about elements for a second. I just need to check my telephone so I can get the questions that are coming through. Let's just have a look. Let's say, here we go. We've got Scorpio, this section here. There is a difference between elements. So fire element is a very particular element. It is a transition element. So it can't live on its own, as it were. It needs wood, it needs fuel, it needs earth to function. And then it will draw on air, so it consumes air in a way, it consumes earth, and then has a transitional element, which is air, which produces water. It's the same thing with earth. Earth uses fire for its as a transition with photosynthesis, if you think about a tree, because that's what creates the wood in a tree. And it uses the water as a transition. And what does it produce? Air. So this is how it works with the elements between them. So it's within your flower and within your petals in particular, you can then see how the elements really work together. The other thing, where there's another twist on it, is where we get the qualities of that element. So whether it's a fixed element, whether it's a mutable, or whether it's a cardinal, will change its interaction with other elements and according to the qualities of those elements. So I think we pretty much covered everything on that. So I hope that's given you a very good sort of heads up on hang on a second, a heads up on what the Astroflower is all about, and how it can be used. So when I'm doing a tarot reading, you can get the links. I think there's a link in the description somewhere. But there will be a link in the description somewhere where you can get you can see your Astroflower and the elements that make up your Astroflower, which you can find on the astroflower.com. And when you see a card that's placed upon that petal, you'll know what that petal is concerning, but you'll also be able to understand the elements that are concerned with that petal. once you know what's going on with the vibration that is around you, which I'm trying to do on CYMATIC TV, which is our sister channel, which I go into everything of energy, it can give you a really heightened version or insight into the card, basically, more than anything. So it does produce a lot of things. Questions coming in now. So just got a question in from Joseph. Asks why Libras like to fight everyone when they have so little fire. We're laughing. I'm laughing, and when I'm laughing amazingly, Joseph. Thank you so much for that question, because I got Tanya sitting next to me, who is a Libran, and it is just so funny. Why do they fight? Why does air fight? You know, it's like a storm battering against a mountain. Yeah, it's going to be able to knock off a few rocks, but it's not going to knock the mountain over. And air will sort of huff and puff in a way in order to sort of sculpt the earth, because earth consumes it consumes in a way the air, or sort of the earth is that sort of that transition. It transitions the air. So, you know, when storms get very emotional, and this is where you're connecting the mental side of energy, the logical side of energy, with the emotional side of energy. So let's just have a look at, just for you, Joseph, let's have a look at Libra. Hang on a second, that's Pisces. Where's Libra? Where's Libra? Where's Libra? Libra is there. Hang on a second. There's Libra there. So, yes, you're right. It doesn't have a lot of fire, but fire doesn't necessarily mean fighting. Fire is passion and what you're passionate about. And you're very passionate. Librans can be very passionate about a thing at the moment as it comes to the surface. But what you do have is, you do have a little bit of water in there, but you mainly have this sort of earth. And it's trying to understand the logical side of earth when you are so fluid within your air. And it's sometimes with the logic doesn't sort of stand up, that's when you're going to be conflictual about it all, I think, more than anything else. Because I think you're looking for that justice and that balance, because Libra in French is called balance, and it is about the scales of justice, basically, and it's balancing. It's a real balancing effect that Libra has, that constantly having to readjust itself, just like air. And storm can come through really quickly with Libra, but then it also then sort of, when it hits the land, a lot of the power is taken out of the storm. And I think this is what Librans look to do sometimes if you're talking about sort of having arguments and fighting and stuff like that. Simply because, you meet the earth of the world and it calms you down in a way. It brings things back down to earth, sort of thing. You know, it's a very generalised view there, because it's you can get into very specifics within it, but you need really, really specific information. So I've got another question. I hope that helped you answered that question, Joseph. Thank you very much for being here. Real pleasure. So now we got Gretchen. Hello, evening, Gretchen. How are you doing? Gretchen is asking, how can the Astroflower show family dynamics? Now, this is an amazing thing. We discovered this whilst going through the Astroflower and sort of seeing the composition of the family. So if you are a child, well, we're all a child, obviously. Everyone's a child to someone. And you're in that position where you have parents and you might have children of your own. So it will depend a lot upon sort of the star signs and the qualities. This is really important. The qualities of your parents as well to your children. So let's take, so if we took sort of two cardinal signs, as parents, you're going to have two parents that tend to be running off in directions all over the place. And if the children are fixed, it's the children that are going to be asking to, so no, let's be a little bit more sort of concrete about this. Let's be a little bit more sort of solid about this. And this will lend a lot of dynamics to the parents that to be a little bit more sort of conscious about the sort of situation. And it'll also help the kids to be a little bit more sort of carefree and letting go about it all. Once we get in a position where we have children and grandchildren and grandparents, or your parents and your children, that's when it all becomes very interesting about how you can help the development of your children according to their sign, according to their quality and their elements within the structure that you are in. And you know, it's obviously if you have only fixed signs within the family, you're going to be in a situation where it tends to be very concrete family. It's not like they don't do things on whims in a way which is not a bad thing, which is a really good thing, because they tend to have a lot of success, the continual success and stuff like that. But it changes the dynamic and according to the parents, you and your children and the grandparents. And one day, we will all be grandparents maybe one day, and that changes it again. And how we can, help the family structure to grow even more by, being in that position and being in that rhythm of life. The family dynamics of it's in the books as well, which you'll see as they're coming out. The family dynamics, according to the Astroflower, is a fascinating aspect, and we've spent many an evening talking about the family dynamics of the Astroflower and how families are put together. Obviously, using our own families at the same time, and it is. It's an amazing subject of how it sort of plays into it for that. Okay, so I hope that sort of helped you out. What about sort of relationships? How it plays in with relationships? This is a subject all on its own more than anything else. I think it's probably worthy of its own sort of live, as it were, about sort of relationships, of how sort of elements go together and qualities go together, and also rhythms go together. That is really important as well. And I'm not talking about just a yearly rhythm, because there's different types of rhythms in the human. There's 6 principal rhythms. There's 18 months. There's 9 months. There's 18 months. There's 3 years. There's 3 years, there's 6 years, 12 years, and 24 years. The first 24 years is like the apprenticeship years, and then from 24 to 48 is the creation years, and then from 48 to 72 is the wisdom years. It's a personal wisdom, and then from 72 to 96 you can do what you like, sort of thing, scenario. And that really sort of ties in with the rhythms as well, with the relationships we have. And it depends, which I've discovered more than anything else, it depends what you're looking for to live in life. So if you're looking for a type of a relationship that is very dynamic, does a lot of sports, going out, very traveling around, then you're going to need a relationship that corresponds to you, or a sign that corresponds to you to do that sort of thing. If you're looking for a very sort of like homestead, looking after the house, getting into your garden, doing all your organic fruit and veg and stuff like that, you're going to need a different type of person. It depends on what you're looking for out of life. And when you know that, then it's much easier to connect with certain signs in accordance to what you want to live more than anything else. There you go. I think we've covered a lot of the ground there. We've got the weeklies coming out this week, and it's been an amazing sort of week already. I thought Mercury was in retrograde by the things that were happening this week, but maybe there's other things going on at the moment. The energy at the moment is very volatile. I've been talking about the energy dropping out on CYMATIC TV. So the energy nice and bubbly and then goes down to nothing. And that's what's been happening in the past. At the moment, and for the past week, we've had energies flying all over the place, going from fire to earth to air to water to fire to air to earth. It's jumping all over the place at the moment. So you may feel a little bit sort of worn ragged sometimes by life, by the changing elements and changing energies of life. So I'd be just a little bit wary of that. Go and have a look on CYMATIC TV. I've got another video coming out tomorrow on CYMATIC TV on the energies that are coming through at the moment. And you'll be able to see that, and I go into that a lot. That does help enormously with the Astroflower when you get the Astroflower weekly readings as well, because you'll be able to know which elements are being pushed the most within your flower, and it will help you within the tarots that we pull, within the messages that come through within that. Okay, so yeah. I hope you. Oh, I've got another question coming through. So this is Van K. Hello, Van K. How you doing? What are you asking? She's asking. Notice the readings are 2 years behind conversations she has experienced with people of master life paths. Is there a reason for this? So the readings that are on the Astroflower and the Tarot Astroflower are 2 years behind the conversations you've had with people who are life paths. I've never heard that term before. I probably know what it's about, but people who are very, concerned with your sort of karmic path and stuff like that. I'm going to be doing a healing channel and stuff like that. And there's something that is, karma is a changing thing. Karma means action, basically, and things are changing and have been changing over the last 30, 40 years. I've seen a change in people. I can read people's karma when I'm doing healings, and there is a change in generations. So the old karma was like a karmic block. It was square, and that's come to an end. And that's 90% of the people on this planet. Probably less now, to be honest. And then you have a new type of karma, which is like a hexagon shape, six-sided shape, which some people have been calling indigo children. And I was never really, it didn't sit right with me. It didn't sit right with energy the way that was explained to me. What indigo children were, that they came from another dimension and stuff like that. And it didn't sit true to me when I was ever doing my work. So I did a bit of investigation on it. And from my side, my interpretation of it is the indigo children are just spirits, old spirits that are part of the celestial plan within this plane, but has a new karma. And this new karma that's comes out, they haven't come from across the other side of the universe. We haven't gone through that process yet. We're going through it at the moment. So when you pass away from this planet, you may well move on to another system, and other people may well be coming in the near future. But at the moment, the Akashic Library is still based upon what we are living as a human family. We're going through a school-like process. We've come to the end of the exams, and the people with the square karma has got nothing left to prove. You've got nothing left to learn, in theory. You're a volunteer, like myself. And we already know everything. We've passed the exams. It's a question now is, what do we do with this understanding? How do we connect with this energy? How do we connect with this karma that comes from a very long lineage, that comes from this Akashic Library, which contains the complete understanding of the human experience upon this plane? And that's what the Akashic Library is all about. And every time you live a life, you contribute to that library. And everybody's contribution to that library gives a greater understanding, a greater consciousness to the Akashic library. And I think here is that we've got to a stage now where a lot of the karma is done. So therefore you have nothing karmically to prove on this plane, as far as I can tell. And most people are just volunteers. I have actually seen in my healing some people with karmic blocks on I say a block as in a square block. It's like a square block, like the block of Tao in Taoism. And I've seen some karmic blocks where it's very particular. I've only seen 3 in the whole time I've seen it, and I've seen a lot of people through my healing, and each time I've looked at them and I've said to them, do you feel that you just don't understand this planet because you come from somewhere else? And there was a bit of a mix up in the administration, and somehow you turned up here and you're not supposed to be here. And they, each one of them has all turned around and said, there's only been like 3 or 4 maximum, but I think there's more 3 than 4. They've all turned around and they've all said, finally someone else has said something that I haven't been able to say myself. I feel like an alien on this planet. And and it's, I understand that we don't understand the world sometimes, or don't understand the humans sometimes, but these people here were completely out of sync, and it was blatantly obvious that their karma was not in line with the rest of the karmic line. So when you say it's sort of like 2 years behind the conversation, this is when you're in like a conscious conversation with these people, and this could be tied into your guides that are looking at the longer term plan, as it were, the longer term path, the karmic path. And it could be things that are coming to the surface now that the idea or the essence of that idea was being born 2 years ago, and now it's finally coming to the surface within your life. So you could just be ahead of the curve of where you should be on your pathway, basically, Vanan K. So yeah, I can understand that. I can understand that totally. The thing is with the life path, and this is the last thing I'd sort of say in it, because we can go into that on multitudes of different sort of subjects. The pathway is not predestined. Nothing is predestined. Everything, there is a greater possibility. So if I was born, let's put it this way, if I was born to a builder, there is a good chance I'm going to end up a builder. That's the way it works. But it's not written in stone that I'm going to end up like a builder. My mum and dad were in fruit and veg. I did do fruit and veg when I was a lot younger, but now look at me, I don't do that at all. But so the pathway of life is created every time you put a foot down in front of you. The path comes up to meet you every time you place that path. And at no point is anybody on your path. Their path may be alongside your path, and sometimes they cross over and what have you, but at no point is anybody else upon your path. You are only on your path, and the only way of knowing your path is by putting one foot in front of the other and living it. You can't see really the way life is done. It's done if you look at a spring, wing, 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 like a spring sort of thing. If you turn it this way, it's a circle. You only see a circle. So you think life is in like a circle. You keep repeating things. But when you look at it from the side, you're not actually repeating it. You're going upwards slightly or going downwards, whichever way you want to look at it. It doesn't really matter. So you're getting very close to where you were before, but it's not exactly the same spot. And that's the accumulation of the understanding of your karmic expression upon this planet. And before, and in lives before, it would have been your karmic mission to discover all about that. And the way it works is this, is that if you want to let's say your soul is here to learn about persecution. To learn and understand about persecution, you would have had to live one life where you were persecuted. Yeah? But in order to understand persecution, you would have had to live another life where you were the persecutor. Now, if you're the persecuted and you are the persecutor, you can't really say if you are good or bad. But what you have done is over several lives, you've brought a great understanding about the idea of persecution. And that's how karma works. And the reason it's got a four-sided block is because there was four sides to the situation. The modern day karma is fluid like a lava lamp. So the information is about fluidity, about sort of getting to a solution in the situation more than anything else. So, you know, it's I think with the 2-year thing, I think it's just basically where maybe that's what's coming to the surface now. That's a possibility. With the limited of information I get and what have you, it's sort of like, you know, I'm trying to give you an all-round understanding of it. I hope that sort of helps you out, Van Anke. But yeah, you know, don't forget, is every time you put your foot down on your pathway, the pathway is coming up to meet your foot. So, you know, it's being built as you go on. And that's how energy works. Energy doesn't have an agenda. It's not bad. It's not good. There is no bad and good to it. There is a yin yang to it, yes. But then you can't really say one is bad and the other one is good. That's not how it works. You can't take the black out of the yin and yang and still have the yin and yang. It has to be together. That's the only way the yin and yang and the balance of life works. The moment you try and take one out of the situation, then yeah, it ain't gonna work really, totally. So, you know, there is no good and bad, and you know, living life is the most important thing you can do, regardless of what you think living life is. And I am not here to tell you that you should do this and not that. I would just sort of say to you, if you're going to do this, maybe this is the best way to go about it. And that's what we try to do on the Astroflower more than anything else. So yeah, I hope that sort of helped you out, Van An, about the explanation on that sort of side of things. Yes, have you got any more questions? Are we sort of like, because we've gone slightly over the time because we were only preparing to do sort of like an hour on this live, but it's I don't mind. I'm gonna be here all day and all night. I love it. I just love getting involved with energy, and just in, you know, yeah, life should be fun. It really should. So, you know, I get into that. Is no other questions and everything like that? Excellent. Okay, cool, Van An. Lovely. Yes. Beautiful. Okay. No other questions. We will be doing more lives on the Astroflower, on the workings of the Astroflower, because it is a very vast subject. I've just given you the broad brushstrokes at the moment in this sort of video. Hot topics. What was that? Hang on a second. Let me just bring that in. That seems to be. Oh, it's karma. It's karma. TV and radio. Sort of. This was great. Oh, Tom, great hot topic. Oh yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Parry, as well. Lovely to see you here. Lovely Van Anke as well. Lovely to see you here as well. Absolutely beautiful. Just lovely to see all you beautiful people out there. You know what I mean? Life, that's what it's all about, isn't it? You know, it really is. Nature listens. Always does. So thanks, Tom. It's really... it's a really interesting system you've developed. It's a system that's come. It's almost come to me rather than I've developed it. You know what I mean? It's that's what it seems to be. So, although I might be the messenger of it, I don't feel like I own it. in a way, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I love being part of it and love enjoying it. So, you know, yeah, absolutely beautiful. Thanking you as well. Lois as well, many thanks and blessings to you. Many blessings to you. Awesome live. Glad you enjoyed it. I hope you get the most out of it. Van Ann, thank you very much. Lovely, lovely. It's all very beautiful, isn't it? We're building a lovely community actually on the Astroflower. It's really nice to see. And it's nice to see when people are helping each other out. Even if it's just suggesting something, you know, for the other person. It's really beautiful to see. And it's very touching to see so many people involved in it. It's absolutely beautiful. Yeah. I don't know if there's anything more to say. Just sort of check in to see if there's everything that's going on. There's Kathy, Mike. Hello, thank you so much. The Astroflower, thanking you. Without you guys, I'll be talking in the wind, you know, and I'll talk in the wind anyway. But, you know, it's just, you know, so glad to see you all here. Really glad to see you all here. It's really absolutely beautiful. An absolute pleasure. Thanking you ever so much. I guess there's all that's left for me to say. All together now. I'll wait for the delay to join us. All together now. Hang on a second. There's a real delay on YouTube, isn't there? There's all that's left. It's all together now. All together now. Yeah. All that's left for me to say is, don't forget, life should be fun. So please do enjoy.